ask most of the questions. But here I'll keep it more an open discussion rather than driven by me. So in fact, I'll start with the first question and then we'll keep an open house so that people can ask you the questions. So in fact, my first question to the panelists would be, how do you see the acceptability of steel in the industry? Are people very comfortable and open to steel, or there is some resistance? So that would be my first thought to come, when you give your feedback on that.
Yeah. What I see the trend, in the market, maybe perhaps if you look back in India, the last 2 decades, the industry was not that much in terms of technology, in terms of fabrication, though I see that Tata Steel is as old as 100 years, and they are the one who gave steel for Howrah Bridge. They were the one who supplied for Yamuna Bridge, and those were the type of steel structures which we did in British times. But nevertheless, after those the large span steel bridges which we did in the British time, in the post-independence era, I could hardly see that we were able to continue with that sort of technology or that sort of structure. But now, for the last 2 decades, we're seeing a lot of changes. The things are getting globally transformed, and we're getting the technology here. And nevertheless, I have experienced that now steel is the material of tomorrow. And perhaps this will be the material which will have vast variety of usages endlessly.
I perfectly agree whatever he said. Only concern what I would see in this area, maybe that is I believe fabrication setup at one location. So I think that may be the challenge for us, and that I think we should look into that area, that we have larger and larger capacity built up at the single location, so that we can cater more and more tonnage of steel into the locality under consideration.
I guess talking about the acceptability of steel, I think it probably, at least from my understanding, it varies from sector to sector. In the industrial sector, like somebody said earlier, we've been using steel for quite a long time. In the infrastructure side, on the bridges and those kind of structures, again, steel, I think it's more acceptable. And then on the building sector, I would say that steel is acceptable when concrete cannot do the job. Like your airports and things like that, where you have large spans, there we, as Indians, we have been accepting steel. But in a building, in a hospital, or in a residential building, commercial building, we still think about using concrete. And I think so that, and there's a lot of reasons for that, like Bhavin said, like Professor Shah said. So there's things about the fabrication capacity, erection capacity. We are not using as much composite steel in these buildings, where we can use steel beams, studs, metal deck, and concrete. So that's a very efficient building system, where you are choosing both concrete and steel to do what they do best. Steel can take tension best, concrete can do compression best. So those kind of things are still, I'm not saying they're not done at all. There are a few projects that they have been done. But overall, I think the penetration of steel in the overall marketplace, I would still say it's not very acceptable. And fireproofing issues, I would put it at one of the top of the list, one of the reasons for doing it.
Kunalji, you have used steel in some of your projects. How are being client comfortable with the steel? Do you see?
See, I think acceptability has, from an architect's perspective, and I also speak on behalf of some of the clients, is that over the past 10 years, there has been a maturing of the aesthetic as a need that comes to us as architects. They want there is also a lot of opening up in terms of reservations. So you have exposed ducts running in buildings which are acceptable. You have now large structural elements which are primarily functional, which can be then converted to, as you saw in some of our projects, converted to more aesthetically or more striking or more significant building elements. So I think that has helped a little bit, but again, coming back to the point of the kind of detailing, when they talk about Howrah Bridge or even our own Ellis Bridge here in Ahmedabad, if you see the way the bridge was detailed by the engineers, and whatever little role the architects had to play there, and it is a beautifully designed piece of structure. I think that element is missing by and large, because now steel is fast. Steel is you can get it to the size and it's basically functional. So it is then obviously it will find use only within that rectangle. I think we need to push that rectangle wider,
Okay.
to find out if you can get good detailing, push for uses where conventional concrete can be replaced, even if it is not long span or even if it doesn't require the ductility or the technical aspects. But yes, you could use steel just as a feature. And I'm sure with all the present parameters and the technology available, we can find to make it more sustainable, more economical. So I'm sure from that point of view, it can replace concrete in much more than just the present.
I agree. Pankaj bhai?
In heat context, I foresee that our development is next generation development. And I can say that steel will be the choice of material, preferred choice of material, particularly tall buildings, no alternate. You have to go for composite type of structures, RCC plus steel, tall and very tall buildings. Some metro structures, metro and skywalk, natural choice of material is steel. Whether it be stainless steel or steel, that time will say. But steel will be the choice of material. I foresee there are two, three problems for this type of material. One is fire resistance, that it should offer for particular type of building. It should be more and more, at least 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour. How it can be extended? 2 hour is, I think, it is minimum requirement. Second is cost aspect. Sometimes it is costly. So developer may go by choice. And third is execution challenges, particularly in tall buildings and complicated structure. Whether our fabricators and our workers in Gujarat are ready for it, that I am not sure. So it is also challenging. So we should be ready for this kind of development and to take up such challenges.
Suri Saab, what has been your experience, like where you have been facing most of the resistance when you go across, sell an idea of steel or maybe stainless steel? What has been your opinion on this?
First of all, as regards acceptance of idea of using stainless steel, it gains immediate acceptance. Now the problem comes because we don't have the building codes or the BIS standards. So people are a little reluctant, anything which is not available in India, anything which is not conforming to Indian codes, either the codes need to be revised, be it building or highway codes, which are in the process of being revised, or there is a new code in BIS for stainless steel, which is also under draft. Very soon there would be a BIS for stainless steel reinforcing parts. We are working on it for the last 3 years. So the acceptance of the idea is quick and immediate. People see the benefits of using stainless steel. In fact, I would say Indians are far, far more aggressive in using stainless steel. I say this from the fact that on a global level, stainless steel is only 2.5% of the big picture. But in India, it is already 4.5% of the big picture. that's again thanks to the utensils and that category. And also, in the homes, you have the stainless steel kitchens and so many other, pots and pans. So that has actually increased the penetration of stainless steel in a very big way. And it's a good news that even a poor man understands the attributes of stainless steel and that stainless steel has a very, very long life cycle. So from that perspective, I think stainless steel is not having a major barrier in terms of acceptance, but there are barriers on how you reach the end target. Hopefully in the next couple of years, those barriers will also be demolished.
Fantastic. Sachinji, you have done a lot of different kind of structures. Has this idea been coming from your end or somewhere the client, come to the table and discuss those? And in case if you are suggesting them, what kind of reaction you get in case if you go for these kind of special?
Well, generally it has been quite positive. And I would say in most cases we have proposed the idea because we're obviously talking about traditional construction with reinforced concrete versus the steel, right? And the steel being, primarily assembled buildings, you have a lot of flexibility, in how you operate on sites and how you can do quality control and things like that. The other thing is that if you see, post-independence India, since we're talking about it, so far we've just been talking about plumbing and electrical as services, but air conditioning and now all sorts of data cables going through the buildings, the need of integrating services, the way that can happen in an assembled building, and the way you can sort of have ducts and larger volumes for services and less volume for the structure, That's the kind of situation I'm seeing it, and I feel therefore I'm seeing more and more buildings getting assembled in steel.
Okay, how has been your experience? Like when did the idea of doing a steel dome or maybe using steel in the world building especially, did it came from you or it came from the architect, and what was kind of your thoughts? I've been seeing concrete for so many years. Why steel?
Personally, I would say that when the use of steel, particularly the product called drywall, when I put that idea in front of my architect, he was not sure about it. So he said, "Are you sure about it?" And I presented my analysis. When you generally construct a wall, traditional wall with the bricks, cement, plaster, this and that costs around 135 rupees a square feet.
Okay.
Similarly, when you go for the drywall, that costs around 185 rupees. Now they say that this is 50 rupees extra. Now we did the reverse calculation. That, for example, if I'm using, I give the example of using the water. So that 1.35 or 1.50 crores divided my built-up area. That 40 rupees a square feet, I'm just saving water. So that means only 135 rupees for the drywall. Second thing, as I said, that I agree with him truly that, for example, if this wall is done and tomorrow I want to do something else here, I have to break that wall. Whereas if there is a steel building, I have to just take out the pads, do the redesigning, the wiring, this and that, and it will be easy. It's like, you can call it a convertible part or a more convenient part to do it. And the third thing is that the speed of delivery. Everybody knows that in Jammu Kashmir, it's not allowed to use bricks and cement and all, so they all have to go for the 100% steel buildings. Now, in case some builders or some developers put a project, he can easily deliver the project in 1.5 years. If everything design is ready, the financial parts are also sound. And whereas in Gujarat, or for example in Surat, hello? It takes around 3 years to complete the building. So generally we take the interest or the money that we invest, it's not that expensive. One more idea, that when I was a child, I know that in Surat, my family, my neighbors, they all had a craze of building new bungalows. Since the upbringing, so they used to visit Dubai, they used to visit cities like Rajkot also because they had a good bungalows concept. So that was the mind of that side.
Yeah.
Today, what we are doing is that we have a dream in the mind that we build something that people come to see. And if you are going to achieve that, then definitely this you're not going to assist to spend like 10 to 20% extra on that concept. Sir has invented, I mean, designed the Chennai airport. Mr. Jayesh Bhai was the who designed JSW building. I would say that if that kind of building is coming up beside me, and if that office or the floor cost me around 1 crore rupees, just compare to 50 lakhs difference, I'm selling 50 lakhs, then I would definitely go for 1 crore this thing, because I know that what benefits I'm getting in that building.
When we talk about, sir, especially now, one last question before I open the house for question answer. Does this happen in most of the cases, or still most of the developers are little resistant towards the extra cost? Yes or no?
No, actually, we were just debating this with him. I must appreciate and acknowledge.
Yeah, I appreciate.
That this is the type of builders we want.
Yes.
Real estate players.
Yes.
And I even take it further. That even the profession needs to be done with passion.
Yes.
Or the media, like you. We were discussing this also with you itself.
Yeah.
That everything needs to be done with passion. And if we do everything with passion, and innovation is bound to come, and dividend is bound to come.
Yes.
So not that he is not earning money, but everything is being done in an integrated manner, where he is in hand in glove with the market, with the professional, with the industry, and for his bread and butter. So once we do that sort of a initiation, I think we'll be able to achieve what we want.
I guess one point I do definitely want to make, I mean, we are talking about all good qualities of steel. One thing that we should not overlook is in our educational institutes, I think steel is still not given equal amount of time. Training in steel is not as good. I'm sorry to say this. I've hired almost 15 people from IIT Bombay, IIT Chennai. Unfortunately, the steel design knowledge that they have is not up to par to other countries. So I think, and it's the chicken or the egg problem, because steel is not required much. That's why the professionals don't, I mean, the educational institute probably don't give enough weightage to steel. And because that's the case, I think some of the designs that you see in India, feels to me, I mean, not that I've checked them, but some of them we've checked as well, they seem a little bit over-designed. And because there's a lot of problems, like Bhavin pointed out, nobody's thinking about steel designing and detailing is not very easy. I mean, most of the people here know that. So that's why, okay, you just put some additional thing to it to make yourself, so you can sleep all night long, like Mr. Suri said. So I think there's a long way to go. So it starts at the bottom. From the education standpoint also, we need to bring it up a notch. Otherwise, just dreaming and wanting to do steel is not good enough, I think.
Yeah. I would like to add one point just only on the same point, that whether our softwares are addressing our design requirements, steel softwares. I'm not that much user-friendly of all the steel softwares, but I understand that there are so many gray areas in structure software. So it is also need to be addressed in time.
Now, any questions from the audience before I jump to the next?
Of course, sir.
I fully support Mr. Shah's statement, because what he says is 100% correct, because I've been teaching line, and I find that even at postgraduate level, the knowledge about structural steel is worse than what it should have been at undergraduate level. I'm frankly telling that I don't want to name the institute or the student, but that is my experience, and I was very sad about it. And even now when I talk to people, I find, because see, as long as you say that there are equal marks or there is a choice, people always go in for concrete because they somehow feel that it is easy. But on the contrary, I don't know, you say it is difficult, but I feel structural steel detailing, once you get involved in it, it is not difficult. It is much easier and much easier to execute and control at site than in concrete. Because concrete, especially for example, if you don't make the bar bending schedule as it is done in India, very few people make the bar bending schedule. Control of the reinforcement placing and all that is so difficult to control. While in steel, once you make proper fabrication drawing, control is 100%. and you try to do as much as possible in the workshop and keep only erection work to the site and not fabrication work. And the quality of fabrication drawings, I remember, because there was a time, I am telling frankly, we were doing fabrication drawings, I am talking of 1960s, as per British practice, where it was not much detailing. And the first set of drawings for steel project of those days, Hindustan Steel, Bhilai and Rourkela, which we were sort of getting approved. But then when we did an aluminium plant for Hindustan Aluminium at Renukut, because the partners are Kaiser Engineers of USA, and when they send the fabrication drawings, then they throw it back saying that you call this fabrication drawing. And I went to them and I discussed with them, and then they showed me what is real fabrication drawing. Then we realized that yes, it is something different, which is much better. And even now there are many people who don't accept that, because it's in Gujarati, abhi zarur su chhe, shall say, fabricator is very good, he can do it, no need for drawing. That is the attitude, because unless that attitude changes, steel work will still be looked as if it is difficult. And
yes,
steel work, once it is done properly, it is much easier and very fast. That is the main thing.
yes sir.
No, I agree with you.
In fact, sorry, I'm a fabricator. As sir is pointing out the right thing, and you also, like all of you, see, there is no doubt about that. In my shop, maybe I have so many engineers, but actually the knowledge for the fabrication lies with a simple, you can say, a fitter or foreman, and he is not very much educated also. So what is happening in our country? I think still our what do you call unorganized manpower or whatever, they have a better knowledge, okay, but they have not been upgraded, like what he said, correct, from the base of the, we should educate and to understand the real fabrication drawings. Now what, like Mr. Singh has told regarding SS, why it is not being used in most of the industries, or maybe it is not becoming that familiar in India. The problem is that, okay, sections are available, but how many people know how to build an SS? That's very difficult. And the problem with, again, fabricators, if he understands, okay, SS is for 200 rupees a kg, say, he wants to take 200 rupees kg as a fabrication charges also. The problem with him, Okay, so those things are also a big lacuna in our country. And I personally feel, I think like why we are following the whole world or Europe or America or China. See, problem is that, okay, we want to bring up a very, very high-rise building in this country. Now imagine, see, if there is some emergency in those buildings happens, whether we are having the backup to firefighters were giving their life to save the peoples. In our country, can people go up to that level? So why we need those high-rise buildings?
I agree.
Okay, we should use steel into the real requirement sectors. Okay, fine, I think with Mr. Singh also, I will point out, I have been to Chennai number of times. So the building, what they have the design, I am sure he will tell, they have a problem in fabricating those trusses. Huge amount of time has been wasted. Why don't we go with the design where our peoples are there to fabricate? So we should, in my opinion, the designer should bring out the design which should be friendly with the Indian manpower.
Sir, how true is that?
Okay.
I think, maybe you're right, but I think we have to omit something like Indian or Western or global, because now in today's context, globe is becoming one village. And what is happening is, we were thinking as an Indian as if we are backward. No.
No.
And we cannot,
sir.
I'm
not talking about backward.
I'm just saying.
Just let him.
Why? Because you said that in India we can't make some curve or this thing which is not labor friendly, But today, if you see, steel is such a beautiful material. Whatever shape you want, whatever you can dream of, you can make in steel.
Sir, honestly speaking, sir, please.
That is
I will
not
interrupt
that,
you,
not that,
Sir, one
no,
question.
not that.
Sir, one question, please. Sir, one question.
No,
Only one question, sir. This particular project of Chennai, sir, honestly speaking, sir, how much time it has been delayed beyond its estimated time?
It has not.
Okay.
It has not. I'll tell you why. Because we finished in 40 months.
Okay.
And target was 36 months.
1
year was the design period. We had to, get all that approval from planning commission and all that, and then we tender calling, and then we started. And, but fortunately it was a government project, but we were not delayed for this. But I am telling you that unless and until we do some sort of an innovation, how can we develop? But I stated that we didn't have the technology of bending a 508 mm pipe here. And that used to, when we started this, and when we designed this, so we were only told by the industry that this can only be done either in Dubai, or in London, or in Singapore. Then we said, oh, the cost will increase. What will we do? Then we started sitting with, like you people, We asked for, Hindustan Alcock, Judicic, all these people, vendors who were into the industry. We sat with them, with Tata Steel, with, and then also 508 was not Indian pipe.
Yeah.
It was chorus pipe.
Yes.
We got chorus pipe. What happened was that during this process, unless and until I tried to understand the industry, and you try to understand my visionary approach towards designing something beyond imagination.
Yeah.
The engineering and architecture has to be in hand in gloves. Then only we will be doing some sort of a innovation. Yes. So that is what happened. We brought this, and now I can probably say that in India we can bend 508. We've done steam curing in hollow box section. In India it was not possible. We did it, and this is what is happening, that a learning process has to be there, and the technology has to come, and today probably we can say that we have these beautiful structures. Maybe there are a lot of defects, there are a lot many other things where we are missing, like side welding. Somebody was telling, that side welding is not something which has to be looked upon, bolting has to be done. We missed on those areas. Sometimes the alignment is far away by not in millimeters, but in meters.
Yes, sir.
The column is below at one level, and shop drawing is not done properly. He has not seen the civil drawing of columns, and he has copied my GFC drawing and given that as shop drawing. I made an observation. What happened when he put that on top? There was a deviation. Then he tried to fiddle around. He broke my column. He broke my column. That is what happened. But this is the process of learning.
Yeah.
Then we struggled together, and at last we got the best airport for Raipur.
Thank you.
Some of the
May I ask you a question, sir? May I ask you?
Yeah.
I respectfully beg to differ with your opinion. I said, like sir just said, just because we haven't done it in India, that shouldn't be a reason that we shouldn't do high-rise buildings. There has to be a first time to doing it. Yes, we'll have to learn like the rest of the companies. We probably could learn from the lessons that the rest of the world has done. But if you look at it, we have the most populous country, we're the densest country, I guess I wouldn't say maybe dense, but there are pockets that are very dense. We don't have an option but to go up vertical in a lot of cases. So we cannot just say that, okay, we've never done it, so let's not do it. That's not the answer.
Sir, I'm not telling
We
about
have to wake up to it, we have to understand how it's done. We have to learn from mistakes that others have done. Maybe we do some mistakes ourselves, but next time let's find different mistakes to make. Let's not repeat those mistakes.
We should look first. We have to prepare our groundmen first. Then okay, you take up all those things.
We have
My
a question.
opinion.
My question to the panel is from a different perspective. See, predominantly the construction steel is from the blast furnace route. There is no alternative technology, steel making technology has come up. Though there are one or two technologies, but it is not commercialized fully. But with the inputs to the blast furnace depleting, for example, the coking coal, hardly 7% of the total reserves, how do you see the supply side of construction steel? Do you see an opportunity or a prospects for alternate material in future?
I guess whenever I think about a material, we cannot just say, okay, we have to design building in steel or in concrete or in precast. Every job has its own material that makes sense. We're not engineers to design steel structures or concrete structures. I think we're looking at metals or different materials. I guess we've talked about stainless steel. But there's a lot of different things. There's fabrics, tensile fabrics. There's sandwich plates that are coming up with the composites of steel and other compressive materials that are sandwiched, that are replacing concrete seating units in stadiums, for example. Cable structures, cable net structures, fabrics that I talked about. Just the fabric industry itself has revolutionized so much. One of the fabric that we've used on the Cowboys Stadium is self-cleaning fabric. It uses the sunlight to disintegrate the dirt, and it's washed away by rain. So those kind of things, I mean, there is advancement, and we should just look for opportunities to use different materials. And sorry if I didn't answer your question correctly. You were asking more about steel, but
I think carbon fiber is also one of the alternative applications in some of the cases.
Sure. I mean, yeah,
I'm not pessimistic. We'll be going back to different model of the days. Possibly some emergence of new technology and new material will come. That would offset the requirement of steel.
Yeah. Well, I would say it's the composite materials. I don't think I have enough knowledge about the material part of steel itself where I could answer that question intelligently.
To be very frank, World Steel Association has predicted that in the next 2 decades, steel production will go up currently from 1,300 million tons to almost 2,000 million tons. So steel is not going to be in short supply for sure. But having said that, there are alternatives being developed. In some of the bridge conferences, I've heard some people talk about replacing carbon steel bridges with polymers and things like that. So already alternatives are being proposed by many people, and alternatives would continue to happen as we go forward. It's not something which is going to end today. So I'm sure something will happen.
Yeah, we have a question.
First of all, I would like to congratulate the team. We have seen a couple of very good presentations today. But I myself am a structure engineer. I understand the schedule was tight-packed, so everybody was given limited amount of time to talk about. But as a structure engineer, I would like to know that from the few of the cases that we discussed today, what were the actual problems that are faced on site from the construction point of view? In particular, I would like to know from Mr. Abhijit Shah that as a structural engineer, what kind of problems you face during design or during construction when the actual thing was being constructed.
Construction, I believe Bhavin and Mr. Singh will also.
Yeah, Mr. Singh, I would like to see. Very quickly, for 5-10 minutes, if you could address a couple of points.
Start with you.
Really helpful.
Okay. I don't know of a construction job site that's without any problems. So there are definitely a lot of problems. I would say it's opportunities. Most of it coordination opportunities. But as you see, like I said before, we need, as a human race, we typically find different problems, different mistakes to make. So a lot of the coordination problems that we used to see maybe 4 or 5 years ago, they're kind of gone away a little bit with the advancement in BIM technology, where you can do the clash detection and things like that before you actually start building something. That has helped quite a bit, reducing a lot of problems on the job sites itself. But then, of course, I mean, there's things like erection tolerances, things like what he said. I mean, the column was somewhere far farther away than what it had to be. I haven't seen a big problem like that. But there are things like that where you have to monitor. And so, thankfully, there's other technologies where you can monitor the stresses, the deflections as you're building the structures. So, as you specifically asked the question to me, I mean, we use the strain gauges, the deflection monitors as we are building the structure itself. Because when we are building such long spans and things like that, if there's something that's happening that we don't think should have happened, we need to know about that sooner rather than later. So monitoring of structures even during construction, after construction, that has helped quite a bit. Other problems, I guess there's always problems like material problems that on the smaller side that we've seen, somebody doing something wrong, mistakes on concrete, forgetting to put in an embed plate or something like that, but there's always solutions to that.
Singh Saab, is the site construction or maybe site construction of steel is a problem? It's better to get fabricated at the workshop? Or how been your experience with Chennai Airport?
You know, you can do most of the things as Mr. Krishnamurthy has addressed that is good to do in, off the site. But ultimately, the erection has to be done at the site. And mostly we find a lot of issues at the time of erections, and Chennai particularly, because the brownfield project, a lot of constraints, and then when you're talking about cantilever of 25 meters, plus a component of a truss, and you're running it on through a crane, and then you have this pivoted, movement, and the lateral movement, the deflection, then the welding at side. It's very tedious, very tedious. And there, if you really miss, even to an extent of 5 to 10 millimeters, it makes a difference. Gradually, it grows up to, at the end point, you see that the deflection is, really, which is not tolerable. So these are certain things where one needs to see, how do you see that the erection methodology is properly adhered. And, I'll put an incident that during the erection, the crane collapsed.
Yeah, I know, Chennai.
And the guy who was running the crane died. The whole crane collapsed onto the car of the crane, and he died. And eventually what happens, we as a consultant, first the blame comes to the consultant, who is the consultant? Hang him. And as if, okay, we gone into the methodology, we did everything, and we approved it. But ultimately what happened, the contractor cuts to a shortcut, route. See, the methodology which the consultant has given is a very hard methodology. It has many more things. He's placed the crane placement, and everything is loading, stapling, and leveling. All those things are done in a manner which is to be required. He makes a cutout, and he sees that from the backdoor he gets another methodology approved from another source, and he got it approved. And when it came to us, we thought, when we went there, we said that this methodology has not been adopted. So that is where we are still finding cutouts. We are finding cuts, and we see that how the professionalism in the profession of maybe, I say in our agencies is not to that level. So we need to rise to that level and see that things are done in a proper manner. But erection is definitely has to be seen, and it cannot be in a shop drawing, it has to be practically done.
Yes,
no, that's correct. That's why, see, we do special structures or such special shapes. It is a learning process. I remember, I'm just telling my own experience. For an industrial project, there was a huge cantilever gallery for throwing bauxite. And the American person who was inspecting my work, I was working for an Indian company there. So he was first time, because I was new to that place, so he wanted to test whether my work is okay. And it involved some site welding, because there was, that is where I learned that site welding should be avoided. If it had been a bolted connection, I would have been very confident. But it was welded. So, and then he said that after you finish the welding and you remove the supports, I want to check the center line of that cantilever last point with the center line here, where it has to drop. So I was nervous. I said, after that much welding, how can it be perfect? And I thought that it is just to throw material is not important. But I was so happy when that American came and told me, a typical American way, he said, God damn it, you have done it perfectly. And he never came and checked my job afterwards. I was there for 6 months. So, see, it was a learning process, but as I said, again, as the fabrication point of view also, in my first job, and even now I tell engineers, lot of things in fabrication is not taught in college. But you have to learn it from the draftsman in the office and from the fitter and the fabricator in the workshop. And you have to learn from them without their realizing that you are learning from them, because they will resist. There is always a resistance, because they think, ये लोग सब college से आए क्या सिखाएंगे हमको क्या बोलते ये करो वो करो करके. But there will be a stage. See, after 6 months, some of them started respecting me, and they were offering me, telling me to go to another company where you will become head and manager, and you are knowing so much, you were so fresh like that. So, see, this is a learning process. And as educated people, we can learn fast if we are interested in the job.
Yeah, thank you. I think what we managed to resolve is that on the drawing board, combining all the different disciplines, running simulations, visualizations, that we managed to resolve. So whatever goes out as a complete product in terms of a design of the structure, whether it's architecture, services, structural design. But there is a lot of gap when it comes to the execution. And like Singh Sahab said, the contractors do tend to cut corners sometimes. Sometimes the design itself calls for investments or trials or unconventional things which are not part of the routine practices. And that, unfortunately, there is no large acceptance. Okay, yes, we need to do a little bit more, or we need to invest in some special tools. We need to get a stronger crane, or whatever we do. We need to do prototype testing. Yeah. I think at that point is where the gap lies. Earlier it used to be like the architects and the structural drawings didn't talk to each other. If you look 10, 12 years ago, I think that was where the problem was. And we managed to resolve that. Okay. But I think this still needs to be resolved.
Bhain bhai, what is your opinion? How been your experience with?
Well, I will again come to the fabrication point from where I have started. So, and the specific question what you have asked, that from structural engineering point of view, what are the difficulties what we are facing and what should be solution? Of course, we also had many problems, as he was telling, that no project is like that it doesn't have any problem. And then, while as a learning process, what we have found out that we must have brainstorming session with our fabricator agency, erection agency. It's a complete brainstorming session. There is no negative or nothing. Just collect all the points from all different agencies' perspective, and then you approach for your design. Because then and then your design will be the complete solution.
Absolutely right.
If you will work in isolation, then you will have certain product, and then you will give to the fabricator, and then those persons were not in the loop earlier. Then they will definitely found it totally uncomfortable, or rather, as he was telling, they may not be aligned to the visions, and there can be a lot of problems with respect to schedule, economy, and quality. So I would suggest that definitely we should have those kind of brainstorming platform at the start of the design.
Girish, you had a question.
That's very good.
Hi, good evening everyone. Congratulations everyone to have such a wonderful whole day of discussions. I had few points or few comments to make on things which were discussed during the course of your presentations and then now in the question and answer. First, foremost is since the industry, steel industry, to my mind is evolving in India, so there would be always that should have been done first. Fabricators must have trained first. Architects must do things first. Something like that. This or that will come. So that is the way industry is going to evolve, and that is the way things are being learned about. And we must appreciate. There are a lot of see somewhere around 2000. In the year 2000 and 2015, we see gradually a lot of good structures may not be so very easy to construct, having been constructed in last 15 years. So this thing would be it would be a lot of appreciation for being evolved, and in the process of evaluation, these things will happen. Second, my comment would be on. What I feel is there is a space for industry to grow better. So what is that space? See, as somebody from the veteran was saying that in the academic side, there have been colleges must start up with a curriculum of having steel extensively and things like that. What I feel is that between all of us who are there in the industry, our participation along with the government bodies is, I think so, a place where we can have a larger role. So to say, bodies like INSDAC who are working. So my take is Tata Steel is a part of INSDAC. We have been working with INSDAC. But I feel that there is a space to have lot more INSDACs, or at least have much more impact of these institutes. If you go in overseas markets, you will see a lot of institutes having came across, like American Steel Institute is there. So to say, Indian Steel Institute is also there. But then Steel Institute of India. But then the kind of work that maybe is yet to be done, that there is a scope in INSDAC, FICCI, and larger associations of that kind is what is the need of the hour for this thing. Like Mr. Hariyal Putran and along with our team, we were discussing on some international tubular structure bodies that are there. So, like so to say, CIDET is one of the body for tubular. Why is it not the prudent idea to have something in India as well? So there is a space for that.
I agree. Any other question we have in the audience? Yeah, please.
Yeah, my question is extension of the previous question.
Okay.
To promote this use of steel, the way industry is evolving, my question to panelists: do you see any need for frequent revisions and amendments to the design codes? Like the earlier code was 1980, IS 800 1984, and then it was amended in 2007. So is there any need you see to have frequent amendments to come up to rise up to the challenges which you have faced in construction of complex projects like Chennai Airport and many others?
Of course, your point is very valid. Frequent amendment should be there because I believe there are so many structural engineers sitting here and they also find problems with the current Indian standard. When I say problems, then it is in terms of interpretation. Of course, then there are some different kinds of interpretation from the different engineers' perspective. Also, there are not maybe many handy explanatory handbooks are available. That also may be one of the problems. And of course, when we see our Indian Standard Code, earlier it was revised in 1984. It was based on working stress design method, and now recently we have revision in 2007. So almost 8 years have passed and there is no revision. But when we talk about the industry, there has been a lot of evaluation with respect to materials and with respect to a lot of other innovations in the fabrication and erection processes. So definitely the frequency of revision should be definitely looked into and it needs to be upgraded in my opinion.
Any other question?
Hello.
Yeah, it's working.
Hello. In Indian construction industry, safety is a grey area. We have seen a lot of down safety standards. I'm not telling safety is not being followed, but compared to the foreign standards, safety standards are very low. And being a electrical conductivity very higher in a steel, how do you see it as a challenge and acceptability?
That's a good question.
Again, I will perfectly agree with your viewpoint. I will share my couple of experiments.
Just a minute. Mr. Abhishek told initially fireproofing. Fireproofing is also, maybe many people are not knowing. So this also as a challenge in India, acceptability wise. So how do you look at the future, looking at these 2 points?
Yeah, I guess I'll approach the safety issue first. Yeah, safety is paramount. I think we have come some way. I guess there is some safety equipment, but nowhere even close. I was in a meeting the year that I came in 2.5 years ago, and I was talking to a developer, and he said he was talking something about safety, and there was some accident at his job site, and he said, fortunately, the life of an Indian person is not that important. And he said, fortunately. That was a shocking awakening for me. I asked him, did you mean unfortunately? He said, no, fortunately. So we are...
What he said is fact, sir. Fortunately, word he said is a fact. That is what is happening. All our project sites, it is like this only happening. There is no value of the worker or labor or manpower.
Right, so that's something that, the enforcement, like the OSHA organization in the US, they will shut your job site down if they see just one violation in the job site safety or in the worker safety. So those things, absolutely, we need to pay attention. And I guess still the government bodies or the government, other regulators, that is one of the biggest challenge that I see for the steel industry, at least in the residential or commercial side of it, where fireproofing is the biggest issue. I mean, we do spray-on fireproofing in the US is very common. Here, I don't think I've seen that. Fireproofing is usually done either with some paint, zinc-based paint. Is that what's been mostly done, or either it's probably embedded in concrete or something like that. So that I think increases the cost of steel even higher. And then when you're comparing concrete to steel, now you're already putting steel at a disadvantage. So that's another thing that I think a friend here was accurately pointing out. That there's a lot of work that bodies like INSDAC and we can do, and then we definitely have to do that. You're absolutely right. I'll let Bhavin add to that.
So will this affect acceptability?
I
in Indian market? My question was that.
Right, it
How
does.
will it affect the acceptability?
It definitely does affect the acceptability, because I wouldn't design a structure for residential purpose if the structure is steel and if there is no fireproofing. Because if there is fire, the steel is going to lose its strength, and so that's not going to be acceptable whether the regulatory authorities force it or not. That's an ethical issue as an engineer. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
What is your opinion?
Yeah.
I was just going to answer this question from the different industry perspective. That was from the oil and gas industry perspective. So when we were working for a few foreign projects, there was very strict instruction in our specifications that no site welding is allowed. So we were forced to design all connections as a bolted connections. And it's very clear standard established practice was there. Again, it was talking on the two parts. First was the definitely safety part, and another was the quality part. That if this site welding is rather performed in say majority of the cases in particular steel structure, then who will be going and then who will be checking those welding quality? And then our entire structure is actually standing on those welded connections, which one welder or weld fabricator has done, who really doesn't have any gross understanding or rather importance. He doesn't know any importance about the those parameters. And second thing, when we talk about fireproofing, again, if you talk about oil and gas industry, there are very established parameters and standards have been set up. Complete hazard study is being carried out, and then based on those fire envelope, fireproofing is being recommended. Again, fire rating is very clearly specified in the specifications. So what I was just going to answer you, like, this is the one typical industry perspective. Definitely this should also come into the relevant other industries, of course, based on their relevance. And then of course, as he was telling, that it should come maybe through the regulator or owners. And then definitely I believe this acceptability criteria can be.
Sankar, you were giving your input.
No, I just wanted to share that, like you said, safety, but I mean, we need to learn, and from Sridharan, we have to really appreciate and admire how in the such type of diversified atmosphere, in such type of culture, he has developed a culture in Delhi Metro. You see any part of Delhi Metro work, and that culture is inculcating into the various metros around India, Wherever the metro is there is defined set rule, and the safety factors, everything is being, the quality factor, that is being taken care of. So that is the type of thing I think we're getting a change.
So far fire resistance is concerned, I have attended one conference at IIT Gandhinagar, in which one Canadian expert professor has shown some details and some case studies also, where fire resistance can be increased with some methods also, and where some critical structures we are planning. So there is nothing to worry. Case like GIFT, suppose in GIFT context, I can say that we have our own firefighting system within the city. Within 886 hours, 2 hours is too big. Within 10 minutes, 5 minutes, our firefighting system can be operated on site, and fire can be taken into the control. So there are some counter strategy we can plan and can think of. So there should not be any fear to run away from the using steel material.
So yours is one typical
yeah, in my context I am saying,
I
and
totally
in every
agree.
city, suppose in case of Ahmedabad also, there are so many fire stations planned in each zone.
But they will not.
But we can counter some strategic options. Why should we run away from the steel?
Understand.
No, that is a very
planning
good
should
point.
be there.
Yeah.
What I'd like to add is that for anything there is always a cost-benefit ratio. So you have to, looking at the cost and the benefits that you get out of investing in that cost is, and that for the initial stages for any new material or technology, or there is a learning that has to be imparted, so that the clients get educated or whatever, so that is the effort that will need to be invested. On the other point of, technology is always the easiest thing to adapt. You can buy technology. Aaj US mein hai, tomorrow you can get it in India. But the culture that is there in US, you cannot get it in India. You will not be able to get it for another 20 years. Primarily because that whole learning curve, we will have to go through. And that gap will shorten over a period of time. Today we have the technology, but we do not have the mindset, or we do not have the maturity, or we do not have the understanding that goes with it. And that gap will reduce, as it has in all disciplines and all new products, new technology. Like, we have the fast cars, we didn't have the roads for them. We didn't have the driving skills for them. So now, slowly over a period of 10 years, if you see the way our road infrastructure and everything has matured, the way our traffic rules have matured, somebody's talking about codes. So something has to come first, and obviously the technology will come first, because that's the easiest thing to get on board. You can buy it.
Second thing will be education.
Yes, and then everything, rest of it falls in place, and provided the industry as a whole and all the stakeholders, educate and work towards to ensure that common goal is realized.
I think my question only that at the initial stage, that mindset is not there.
Right.
How will be the acceptability, because steel is having very much high electrical conductivity, and even fireproofing is also not that much.
Right. No, you're right. Awareness is definitely needed. One thing I just want to add, that fireproofing and firefighting are not. If you have one, it's not like you cannot have the other. Both are required. Both are required. You cannot say because I'm living in a fire station, I don't need fireproofing. That's not the way you can do it. Because both have a different purpose, different roles to play, and so they are not mutually exclusive. I think both are required.
I would add a third one. The detection is also.
Detection, obviously, yeah. Unless you have the detection, you cannot. Your fire tender or fire truck is not going to be there. So I think it's just having one doesn't kind of solve the problem.
I think the discussion is revolving around the material, steel and fire. Why talk about a steel and fire? Talk about a normal concrete building. It's only depends on the local authorities' firefighting ability, competence. Say, I'd like to share here my experience as a member of High Power Development Control Regulations. We know all the metropolitan cities. And all these fighting authority chiefs were restricting the height of a building, even a concrete building. That you cannot go up to 20 meters, 30 meters, that was too much for them, because they don't have a snow ladder. They don't have equipment. Even the fire detection system, we don't, even why not? Say each building is a high-rise building, say about 6-7 floors. We have a fire fighting system, say installed. How many are really functioning in operation? So there are so many things related with the firefighting. So only the sensitivity of a material to fire, I think there are so many things, what rightly said, that while even adding certain additives, admixtures, say metals in a molten steel before extrusion of sections, various sections, it provides. And it is called, even the, I don't know whether people know about the SG iron, spherical granule iron. It is a high quality. Even say, for example, car engine, that material, SG iron, spherical granule. So even the composition of a steel, say from triangular, that granules to convert into the spherical granule. Even the adding certain other materials, even if the size of a granule sphere, that ball-like structure can be reduced and made smaller and smaller. It has so many things. Point is that let's go further than the revolving around the firefighting.
Okay, okay, good.
That fire is a big issue, we cannot solve that.
Any other question before I jump to the next question, please?
Other than firefighting, also I would like to add my two experience in GIFT itself for high-rise buildings. One, you might have noticed in that video that we have fire vestibule provision. That is one alternate. And second, we have planned our residential high-rise building in such a manner that people can be shifted from one wing to another wing with a common passage.
Yeah.
So it is not possible that all of your wings of a same floor will get fire immediately. So rescue operations, strategy, planning, everything is so it has very limited effect on material selection. So from authority point of view, if I have to apply my mind, that there are so many limitations are not there.
So I'm really happy that a lot of discussion is happening around fire, and rightly pointed out that fire resistance is a major thing, and so that's what when from Tata Steel we started looking at whether we can develop some sort of a fire resistance inherent with the metallurgy, and we have almost crossed 80-90% of it. We are able to reach around 2-hour rating. One thing that we found is that in India still cost plays a major role. That's how we see that fireproof paintings are very costlier, and that's why it's not. So our major motive was not to develop something steel which again increases the cost. Our main objective was to develop a steel which is very cost effective, and we are actually around 20% of the cost of the fireproofing system we have been able to develop. So I only request that industry to, from a manufacturer point of view, if there are any other challenges like this, if you can share, we will be happy to take it up as an industry leader. Thank you.
Sir, somehow, I just want to know from the panelists, somehow in the industry, still L1 plays a major role because of which steel sometimes becomes number 2 option. What is your opinion?
I think you are being very conservative that by using the word sometimes. I think that is a very big factor in the quality, in the build quality that we see. Right from the design to the execution, because especially on large projects and large government projects, you have to go by the standard tender system, and the lowest price gets the work. And unfortunately, there is no benchmark. The benchmark price does not add costs for safety, for example, for if I'm talking about the contractors. So all those are not factored in for workers' health, for site organization, for the basics that you normally see on any site outside of India. We are still, I was in Sri Lanka, and if you see the way they execute projects in Colombo and
yes.
It's a tiny country, and if you see the quality, you could be anywhere in Europe. So somehow they've been able to manage that, and somehow we've not been able to get a hold of. And everybody's willing to compromise at all stages. So let's not point fingers. I think the client put pressure on the designers. Yes, and go for the 6th revision. So then it starts from there, and the specs don't get. properly checked and vetted, and then the contractors will not read the conditions thoroughly, or then in the eagerness to get the job. So yes, I mean L1 is the single largest destroyer of quality, and we are not a quality conscious. We would rather save on cost at the cost of quality. I mean that's a common acceptance if you look across all sections of society. So
I tell you a recent example just now. Last week only, I think, okay. Last week there was a tender at BHEL. I also participated. This was for some North Karanpura, that's for NTPC project. There were around 25 parties. Okay. So 20 parties have quoted a price around 90 to 100 rupees per kg for those structures. But one or couple of parties, like this is one capacity, or maybe Pratibhas and all that. I think they group, I'm just naming, and maybe JSPLs and all, those are great people and all, probably. They quoted in the range of 70 rupees a kg. Imagine the cost, estimated cost was 85 rupees a kg by Government of India, BHEL cost, okay. And they are getting at a range of 71, 72 rupees a kg, just to grab the job, grab the market. And all 20 vendors were in the range of 90 to 100 or so and so. We're very highly, this main power plant completely with all like heavy boiler structures and all. But ultimately government, they're least bothered. They're happy. They're happy with that pricing of 70, 71 rupees. And they're given to both of them, that's all. So question is that there is ultimately where the quality will go tomorrow. At the end of the day, there will be compromises. And it can lead to any kind of disaster.
Singh Saab, how did you break the barrier? You've been working for a lot of government projects. Did you try to innovate or do something, maybe, or kind of?
No, actually, I would say that we were very lucky that when we did all these government projects, they were on a global design competition, and fees was fixed.
Okay.
As per Council of Architecture. So we won those national design competitions, and but I definitely wish that these things should not happen the way things are now getting into. You rightly said, sometimes where even in architecture profession, people are quoting haphazard, which maybe you can't buy a cup of tea, and they are giving a design for a building. So that is what is happening. But that is the market is getting polluted.
Yeah.
And maybe that this is maybe that with time we'll get some sort of stabilization. The other factor which is an alarm to us, or maybe which has to be seen, is that now today the client wants a single window. And it is not that the architect is working in isolation, engineer is in some other compartment, or management is in some other compartment. No, one needs to see that you deliver in single window and you gave a perfect work. That is what is required to be given. And where we are missing, we are like freelancers. We do not have a larger team of professionals working together. And when we're talking about larger infrastructure projects, we need to compete with the international guys who have a strength of more than 50,000 people working around the globe, or somebody working with 2,000 people around the globe in the profession. So there we need to see that how the Indian industry, the professionals, the designers also need to be clubbed. Like we say, you working on a fabrication, but there also you also need to strengthen yourself in a larger framework, where you have a larger framework. So then only you will be able to compete. That is what needs to be seen, that how an Indian player can be global.
I have only 2 more questions.
At GIFT, we have developed a single window clearance system. We facilitate 2 coordination meetings with the design team as well as our proof check consultant team. Both participate in that meeting, as well as our GIFT official sits together with me, and we decide for not only structure and MEP aspects jointly, any clash detection and anything can be detected, and ultimately, finally, we progress towards the commencement of the work. So this is the practice at GIFT.
Sir, quickly, I have two questions, and I just want an answer, a short answer. Okay. Yeah.
First of all, thanks to you and your team for putting up the show, and
Thank you.
the magazine also has a lot of photographs of the steel construction that's happening. So the question to the panel is, are we just few landmark projects ahead of putting like steel in, as a major construction material? Like few landmark projects mean like completely different out of the box projects, like gravity defining structures as such. Are we just few landmark structures ahead of putting this material, the more sort of material in the Indian construction industry? Are we there? I mean, that's a question that I wanted to ask you.
See, there's always a first landmark construction that you do, and then what happens is replication. It inspires many other architects, many other structural engineers, many other project owners. So it's a game, you know. You make something very nice. It's like Calcutta Metro. It was a disaster. So Metro was buried. Till Delhi Metro happened, as Mr. Singh said. And now everybody wants to have a metro. So if there is a success story, replication of a success story is something which is very much desired by everyone.
Yeah. We will take last question from the audience, and then we'll wind up with
my question for the
two
panelists is,
questions. Yeah.
As many of you are in design, the thing is that when have you ever convinced your client regarding the design and utility and where the fabrication will be done and due diligence of the fabrication shop, where you can fabricate the structure as per your required needs without compromising in other factors? Have you ever influenced the client, your client? That one question on one similar thing was asked from my friend over there, that why Karanpura project has gone in so much of rupees. Instead of that, at least the consultant and the designers, they can influence the client that the cost doesn't matter, the ethics in which the product can be delivered should be done. How many times have you paid this kind of fee? Have you ever tried to influence your client to reach your objective? Or you have also compromised in the same way what other people are doing it?
He's right, sir, to some extent. Basically, you know, okay, like you have something in your mind. Okay, ultimately that has to be brought into the
vision has to
go to final figure. Now, who's the competent person to take up those jobs? Of course, there are very few people who understands you thoroughly. Then only they can, like what he said, correct. As a team, if you code, definitely then that will give better result. But after that, if nobody is there to take up and that becomes a separate zone, then there is a cost cutting, sir. And that reduces the quality, and that is also a problem where we are ultimately landing, you know, project delaying or maybe some accidental issues or maybe whatever, like, you know, some contractors are running, new contractors are coming, like that is happening, sir. So, of course, it's right, but how practical, of course, that is again.
I think he has very rightly mentioned now. See, today we are very much equipped. You know, even the government agencies are changing. Like GIFT. Like, you know, we're working for Smart City in Kochi. We're making a school for International GEM Foundation there. And there again, we found a single window, you know. And we just sat together, we got all the clearances, you know. Just in just 2 hours, we made the presentation, we got all the clearances. So that is the type of things which are happening. Similarly, as you said, that, you know, the type of things which we want, I think that will also come on the other side of the field, you know, because when the government is improving, they are, you know, onto the, we know that survival has to be there, and we can't survive with the type of things which is happening. Maybe that tomorrow the government, maybe in the GIFT, I do not know if they follow the lowest. You know, you have an approved list, and once you have an approved panel of contractors who have some sort of a credentials, then okay. All the contractors who are falling into that sort of credentials are at par. and then the competition is only on the lowest, So similar things are happening, that is there. And I think that we are now changing with the changing world.
We just have one last question from the audience, then I have two questions, very short questions, then we'll end the panel
As
discussion.
far as the steel sector is concerned, the major issue is also about the corrosion protection. See, we now have a lot of materials which last longer, more than 10 years and something like that. But then our steel structure, particularly in aggressive environment or aggressive process environment, does not last. So what is the solution now?
Stainless steel.
One another solution.
I would like, just a minute, sir. I would like to answer his point. Today, there is a lot of improvement in terms of surface engineering. Okay, surface protection. The paints are available, surface coatings are available, which can cater to any aggressive environment. I've been dealing with this. I've engaged a lot of multinational companies for surface protection. Results are very encouraging.
I have one suggestion, more suggestions for you. For large steel structures, cathodic protection is being practiced. In case of oil pipelines or large-scale bridges, cathodic protection is also one solution.
Yeah, and cathodic protection can also be used after the fact. So if there's a structure that has a lot of corrosion, it can be reversed as well. But you're right, there's a lot of surface coatings, galvanizing, that things can be done. And I don't think if we answered your question back there or not. Because right, I think I don't know, in the Indian marketplace, haven't been able to convince them yet. But I think client and consultant relationship, it has to be based on trust. As you work with the client and you become a trusted advisor to the client, that's when, if you can show to them that, okay, you're bringing the value and you're thinking in their interest, I think you're kind of climbing up the trust ladder. And when you reach there, when the client expects you and hopes you and wants you to be their trusted advisor, that's when they'll listen, I think. I just thought that nobody answered your question, sir.
That's the way, you have to, show the fabrication yard, fabrication facility for your client, that here your structure will be made and it will be of the same quality what I have recommended.
Right, it's a
you have to create for the client.
Right, it's an attitude issue, like what he was saying earlier. We have a chalta hai attitude kind of, which starts with each one of us. So that's something, if we change that, we can go places. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult.
Just as an example, the cages facility that I showed you in the presentation, with the curves of the trusses, they all needed to be bent to a precise radius. So we thought that it would be better if we had a jig for it, and then you run all the sections through that jig, so you get a perfect. The client, we conveyed to the client that this was an important aspect, and it would greatly increase the accuracy of the entire project, and was an important part. And the client shelled out, I think, about a few lakh of rupees. He actually, paid the fabricator to make the jig, because the fabricator had just quoted for the fabrication price and not for the jig price. It's at that trust level. Yes, this is required. My architect is telling me that it will add value, it will add accuracy, I'll gain from it. So once you are able to convince the client that yes, he's going to gain from it, I think then your then your whole task becomes easier.
I have a couple of one-liner answers which I want from the panelists. Quickly, Suri sir, today do we talk about sustainability, life cycle cost when you go to the client? Do they agree? Do they don't agree? They mostly agree, or they mostly don't agree? So just with one word, I'd like to ask everybody.
They agree with riders.
Agreeing more and more.
Okay, Kayur?
What should I say?
you are the guy.
I I believe in only one thing, that this is the world of creativity.
Yeah.
And creativity is always endless.
Yeah.
So if you combine, merge this and that with the ideas, it will be accepted by the people.
Okay.
And people like new things all the time.
You know, like he was saying that can the architect superimpose the, you know, the financial aspect, and you know, you can see that you overspend. But if I have a client like him who can educate a professional, you know, this is the type of education which we have. You know, today the global information system is so smart that my client knows more than me. You know,
Yeah.
and I have to really be read to really guide him. Otherwise, I'll be a failure.
I agree. Quickly.
Yeah, I would say
Yes,
they,
no?
yes, I would say simply yes.
Mostly yes. Okay. Sir, what is your opinion?
In my opinion, development should happen in a nice manner, so quickly, and there should not be need of any control.
So lifespan
And
cost
regulation, yeah, everything.
does make-
Sustainability is definitely
most of the time you
everybody
consider
need to address.
sustainability and life.
But development requirement and needs should be addressed first.
So is it
And in a given time and
sometimes-
cost.
Okay. So it is
From
sometimes
authority type, from authority point of view, there should be minimum regulation and control application is required. It is your internal matter between
yeah.
I think soon it's not going to be optional. Lead version 4 in the US Green Building Council, you have to do a life cycle analysis, and we are doing a first prototype project, the first project in the US that's doing it.
Fantastic.
So lead, I think, had been diluted. You were able to get points by just doing a little bit here and there. That's changing. Lead version 4, you have to do a life cycle analysis.
Sir, quickly.
I think if the consultants do their homework, yes, it's possible to convince.
Okay. And we'll start with the last question with you. Where do you see the growth for structural steel in coming years? Which sector?
See, I think
which industry?
You know, India has a craze for iconic and for visible and bada chahiye, you know, but that's just one off. I think the penetration, if you're looking for large volumes, the penetration has to be at a more general level. So if you're able to convert all your door hinges and door hardware to stainless steel or to steel or something like that, you'll be able to get a far more volume or penetration of the material.
Industry-wise, say, where do you see commercial, residential, high-rises,
I think
mid-rises, factories?
Industry. It would be the first large-scale sector. Industry and infrastructure.
Fantastic. Flyovers, maybe?
I would wish it is towards high-rise, commercial, residential, but my answer is going to be infrastructure.
Sir?
I foresee that almost first and foremost user will be industry, but at the next step it may be transport sector.
Okay, that means
terminals and all that, metro terminals.
Okay.
And third position is buildings, particularly commercial. Very limited scope for residential.
Okay.
I would say infrastructure and high-rise buildings.
Okay. Sir?
Yeah, I agree with
I have a different answer for this.
Okay.
If you take an example of smartphones, whatever the new technologies are developed comes on the smartphone first. Then the same thing is applied on the televisions. Like if you see the LCD, LED, this and that, right?
Yes.
For me, I would say that infrastructure and commercial, which is developed on the large scale. For example, Mumbai airport, which may be new, and then Chennai, these airports. Then people see that thing in their own commercial buildings.
Yeah.
And then that thing follows to the residential.
Okay.
And then the own bungalows.
Okay.
So I think it's segmented percentage-wise, but large would be infrastructure and commercial, then the other thing.
Sure.
Well, I think it's going to be more and more in residential and commercial sector, although it's going to be a little bit slower than the infrastructure projects.
Fantastic.
From stainless steel perspective, I think along the coastal areas, infrastructure and ABC would be the dominant player.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. It's been a fantastic introduction. Now, quickly, I may invite Giriji to, give the closing remark. Please, sir.
an individual presentation, but I'll give one opinion on the outside. This initiative to sharing a knowledge in the area of use of a steel and sharing knowledge is commendable. And it's my personal remark and observation is that the steel available at present is still at the stage. We have still miles to go for a various type of steel, whether resistance, acidic contents in atmosphere, reduced thermal coefficient, use of various materials or metals like titanium, tin, chromium, tungsten, nickel, zinc, and making such a alloys that can be lightweight and that will reduce size because of its higher strength. And above all, I think we need a deep research for the joinery aspect of a steel construction. What initially we were riveting, we forgot the art of riveting, then went to bolting and now welding. Welding is a deep subject. Hardly we consulted about the knowledge of welding, different grades of welding rods, root welding, not to talk about the underwater welding, but even the different flux used for the welding.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you guys. We look forward to see you in December event, which is going to be a gala event. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it.
Authorities force that. People like the GIFT, I mean, you guys, the regulatory authorities or owners, I think everybody has a role in that. I mean, we should take on that as a challenge. And you are absolutely right. I mean, we are far away from doing safe construction. The second point about fireproofing.